no secret, I was adopted. When people ask me, well, who was the musician in the family, or, the real foundation of my music career? I think it was just, we had a big, warm, loving home, and there was always music playing. The Sinatra was always on. I knew all those old tunes. My father was very good. I remember my first piano teacher said, I wouldn't push him too hard. He's playing all kinds of sports. If you push him, he's going to quit. My father said, all right. He goes, but bring him out to see the band sometime. And that's what used to happen. I used to go out with my father's friend, Jerry Cohen. He was a great musician. He's the one who taught me to play. The reason I was inspired is because he used to bring me out to see him play live. And then guys like Tony Boffa, who was another real great principal guide for me. That's where I was inspired.
Having a beer with Fred is really about getting to people's passion and what makes them tick. Having a beer and having honest, frank, clear conversation that inspires our audience is what it's about. All right, so I've been having a beer with Fred for at least 3 or 4 months now. And what's so funny is it's about talking about entrepreneurship. It's about talking with people that have touched my life, either through business or friendship or family. And you've done all 3 of those.
Absolutely.
You've done many different types of businesses over our life. I mean, literally when I say you're like a brother from another mother, it's definitely true. I've got many, many stories about our pasts and how they've crossed, but Uncle Louie, Dr. Ciampi, who delivered me, right. And now Michael, but the connection to the whole Ciampi family is a big, warm group of people that just have many, many different connections. But most people know you as the Jim Ciampi music, Jim
right.
Ciampi events. But I know you as someone in my life that's been there forever, going way back.
Can't get rid of me.
No.
No, I mean, we've known each other for so long. I mean, there's no one on this planet that I think of more as a brother than I do with you. And because of all the connections that we've had, but you've been instrumental in kind of guiding me a little bit, been a compass for me. And that's always been important to me. But even more than that, you're kind of an inspiration, like all the different various things that you do. And the way that I've been able to kind of see all that develop in front of me has kind of excited me about and gave me some passion about doing some things and maybe stepping out a little bit out of my comfort zone and doing some things. But I think you're right. It all does kind of go back to family. And I was, it's no secret, I was adopted.
Yeah.
And so my parents couldn't have children, and I ended up in probably the best situation there could ever be. I had the greatest parents. They didn't have a lot, but they had a lot of love, and they adored your family, your parents, and yes, my godfather, Dr. Ciampi, delivered you.
Yeah.
So we've known each other forever, but they're the reasons that that there's a guiding principle. It's like when people ask me, well, who was the musician in the family, or how'd you get to? I think it was just. We had a big, warm, loving home, and there was always music playing. The Sinatra was always on. I knew all those old tunes, and
right.
And so things came easy to me. Like when I started to really adapt with the music, it was. I think it's just that's where I was inspired by. My father was very good. I remember my first piano teacher said, I wouldn't push him too hard. He's playing all kinds of sports. If you push him, he's going to quit. And my father said, all right. He goes, but bring him out to see the band sometime. And that's what used to happen. I used to go out with my father's friend, Jerry Cohen. He was a great musician, but he's the one who taught me to play.
Right.
But the reason I was inspired is because he used to bring me out to see him play live.
Right.
And then guys like Tony Boffa,
yeah,
who was another real great principal guide for me. Those guys helped me really kind of form what became the base of, the real foundation of my music career. So.
Yeah, and your career is one thing, but you've created a business. I talked to Don Campbell, sure. And I relate you, Bob Marley, and Donnie as a group of guys locally have made a living, had fun doing it, and enriched people's lives. We talked about the event that you and Don did.
For Candace, Candace Cares, your sister. Yeah, that was I enjoyed doing that. This will be on our 3rd annual coming up this year, and.
You have a date yet this year?
We don't have the date. It's going to be late spring,
yep.
April.
Yeah.
Probably the last week of April. But
that was an amazing event. I couldn't be there. But I was getting texts all night and pictures, and it was fantastic. I mean, Helen Helen Malone, in her 80s, better up on the dance floor. And, there were so many people that sent pictures with how much fun they had.
Yeah, it's a pure battle of the bands. I mean, we get to work with, Don and his great musicians and his band. We go back and forth all night, and it's more of a community event. You see a lot of people that it almost felt like a reunion. Where people were just so excited and happy to be there and to support it in any way they could. It wasn't a fundraiser that was in your face.
Right.
It was more or less like we're here for a good cause, and this is a really good community building thing, and a lot of good spirit there. It was fun.
And you flash back to, I remember your brother had, Michael played music in the basement with you, and I remember go downstairs there and all the family events that have you playing, and then fast forward to when I was in college, you end up living in our living
We
room.
created a couple of compositions, remember? Linda.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. And but I think back to all the New Year's Eve parties that I went to that you played, and we celebrated at Sable Oak.
Right.
And how many years did you do that? We
We
celebrated
did that for 7 years.
Yeah, we had some amazing New Year's Eve parties, and then I don't know if there were many weddings I went to in Southern Maine that
But I wasn't at.
you didn't play.
No, I know. We were thinking about it the other day. I mean, I've been playing music for 40 years now.
Yeah.
And which is unbelievable. But like, I just went up to Lake Placid, New York,
Did you
a couple
really?
weeks ago and played a wedding. And I had played the mother's wedding. I had played her sister's wedding. I had played her brother's wedding. I had played her 2 cousins' wedding.
Oh my God!
And now I did her first daughter's wedding. And they just signed me up to do the next daughter's wedding next year. So
You're gonna lock in with their kids too, probably.
and Merrill Seafood, like Jimmy Merrill. I did his 3 daughters' weddings, and I mean, it's kind of strange for me to all of a sudden I'm playing the kids' wedding. I almost feel a little weird about it. Like, how did this happen? Like how did I? But and they've all been wonderful in
entrepreneurship, I say, and you are an entrepreneur. I've seen you do a number of different things. It's what you're doing with the Dueling Pianos right now. You're creating a brand that you've had multiple people in your band. I mean, you've been a consistent, but you've had multiple people, and you create. That's something we talk about: location, we talk about timing, we talk about people, and persistence. And you have all of those where you really. Basically you live in the home next door to where you grew up. You built your own house there, and that location and your relationships build on each other, and people are satisfied, happy. And you even said on the Rogers family, you did every
kid of all 7 weddings. Yeah.
So it's fun. But recently we were at the. You've gotten very involved in the church locally here. We're at the Shipyard tasting room. And walking distance is your
St. Peter's Catholic Church. Yeah.
There you were talking about the grotto, and your grandfather came to America, right? And he was involved in the grotto there. And
good memory.
Your dad had repaired it.
Yeah. Well, the story was that there was a when the first kind of Italian immigrants started to come to America, they all settled down here in the East End.
Yeah.
And St. Peter's Church was built in 1929. My father was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And he remembers his father, my grandfather, working on it. And they were all the old, young Italian guys, all the bricklayers. Well, about 10 years after that, the priest asked them to build an Italian kind of prayer garden called Grotto. And they built it, and they used all the parishioners kind of gathered stones and brought these stones in from the East End beach and things like that.
No kidding.
So they put this beautiful little prayer garden. I remember it a little bit when I was a little boy, but they tore it down in the late 60s.
Yeah.
And they built the church hall, which my father was a brick mason on the church hall.
Yeah.
And then all the local brickies donated their time. And so a few years ago, I was floating around thinking we should really develop this last bit of green space we have in back of the church. There's only like a 25 by 40 area. I said, why don't we bring the grotto back to myself? And then I started talking to a few people, a couple of the priests. And anyway, it's turned into a project where we've now done the back and the whole side of the driveway of the church. So it's really a big improvement to the grounds. And I think the whole idea for me is you can look around the church sometimes and it's almost like it's becoming a mausoleum. Like there's a lot of older people, but there's not a lot of youth there. But there's a lot of people working hard to try to bring that back. And I think this has a lot to do with it.
That'll help, right?
Yeah.
Well, you had at the Italian festival last year, there was a first shovels as of it
Groundbreaking,
there.
yeah.
You raised a great amount of money, and there are a lot of young people at that, and that could spark some young energy in the church.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to ribbon cut it this bazaar
Yeah.
because it's the 100th anniversary.
Right.
So it's really interesting because, you're going to have a real high level of energy, I think, around the project. And we've got some really nice ideas with it. And a lot of people are buying the pavers. And
when is the festival this year?
It's August 8th and 9th.
Okay.
Which is a Friday, Saturday.
Always a great time. The kids love it.
Everybody my band plays it on Friday night. It's a great time.
Well, and you have, through your life, given back to many, many things, discounts on nonprofit events, gotten involved in helping nonprofit events. But this, I've seen you in the last few years really put a lot of energy into the church.
Yeah.
And
it's important to me. It's not I've always been there, but it's a part of my heritage, part of my tradition, part of my culture. But I think it's important that, it's something that needs to really people need to, like, they think I'm a young guy there. I'm 62 years old, and they think I'm.
And so that's a big subject, trying to bring people back to the Catholic Church, right?
Yeah, but it's we both went to Cheverus. We both had that instilled in us, and it's a really I was at Cheverus and then Boston College, and I've always had that in my life, and so it's important to kind of give back. It's just like with the music, you can't just take it.
Yeah,
you can't just take and take and take. You've got to be able to give back, and
that's a balancing that with paying the bills and everything else is tricky, but. We've been fortunate to be able to do what we can do in those things. And that's part of entrepreneurship as well, as being part of the community, giving back to the community that's given you. And I talk about building community through music, through beer, through food.
Right.
And, you definitely have added to this community here. And it's, think back to the 10th year reunion we had here. You played, and we've been here for 33 years. And
that's right,
the early days. And I'll never forget the day your dad taught me something too, but we were Mark Mullen and I were on our way to the beach. He says, "Hey, you guys, give me a minute. I need a hand." So we show up on Pheasant Street. Just give me a hand for a few minutes. At the end of the day, we had these steps built. We never made it to the beach. But we had such a great time. Every time you drive by this, you'll look at those. He says, "You built those stairs."
Right.
And it's true. It's something about building something. And,
No, it's true. It really is. He helped me build my house. I could drive around the city of Portland and see all the things that he did, but he was a part of the community. And I think that's what rubs off. A guy like you, or a guy like Don Campbell, Bob Marley, we're all part of the community. We're all trying to do good things. Sure, we're trying to make pathways for our success, but at the same time, like Don's a totally different musician than I am, but we still are able to collaborate.
Yeah.
Don does a lot of things on a national level. I'm more of a service musician. I have to play.
But you're an entertainer. That Dueling Pianos, you have one coming up here in July. July 25th? Is that?
I think it is. Yeah, it's a Friday night.
Yeah. And
we love playing.
We'll double check that.
Yeah, your staff is great, and we have a great time down here. And but yeah, I'm right now. It's 6-7 nights a week, and playing a lot of piano bar, and really trying to just kind of keep everything moving, and the band is still very, very highly visible and busy, and we do a lot of weddings, and so it's really good.
I was over. Buzzy Truciani calls me up the other day. Fred, we gotta go. You gotta come see that. So I said, well, I actually need a ride to Kennebunk. Pick me up. We'll go look at the Portland Club. Yeah, and of course, there's a beautiful piano sitting right there. And instantly, my brain goes, Jimmy could help. He says that they need some activity to get more members back.
Yeah.
What a beautiful place that is.
Yeah, it is.
But anyways, he was talking. So I said, I got to talk to Jimmy about coming over here. Maybe we could do a few events.
Sure.
And the old days, the O'Donovans and a group of guys used to do a St. Patty's Day party there. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a lot of fun. But I think you've done a few events there, right?
Yeah, many. Yeah, I've been able to do, there's a lot of people that just call me simply to help, to assist them with whether it's a celebration for their family or a wedding or a party or, and obviously the corporate line, but I do a lot of my own productions. Yeah. So I enjoy kind of putting those together, and a lot of them are fundraiser based, but some of them.
Talk about Dueling Pianos. What made you do that? I know people that love Dueling Pianos, and they go, they're in Vegas, wherever they are.
Well, actually, that's how it started. I knew a little bit about it, but I was out in Vegas on a golf trip with a bunch of friends that I have. We all played at Falmouth Country Club at the time. We used to go on these various trips, and we were out there playing golf. And one night we were in New York hotel, and these guys were
New York,
me to,
New York.
yeah, they were pushing me to play. So, so they asked if I could sit in. So I did for a song. And then 3.5 hours later, I got off the piano, so, and the guy said, why don't you just come out here and play with us? It'll be so much fun. And I'll set you up. And I said, no, I think I'm going to kind of try to do this at home. It's not a lot going on where I've been kind of thinking about it, and this just sealed the deal.
Yeah.
So, and actually that guy was on his other job is he owns a company that produces the shells for the piano. So I actually bought the shells off of him.
Oh, good.
Had them shipped here, and that's what started us. And Seth Holbrook, who sings in my band, he's a lead singer. I turned him into a piano player. He said, I don't know anything about dueling pianos. I said, no, you're going to do this with me because he's really theatrical and talented kid. So I taught him how to play piano, and we have a drummer, and the thing's been going for 7 years, and it's very popular. It doesn't have a set location. We move it around. So we can do it on someone's deck. We can do it with this week. We're at the Owl's Head Transportation Company.
No kidding.
I mean, we're everywhere with it. So it's we did it at one of the whole local hotels the other night. So, I mean, it's all over the place, but we're playing with that 7, 8, 10 times a month. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I know you're going 90 miles an hour all the time. The other day, where are you going? I got to drive up to Bar Harbor. And then drove back that night.
Yeah.
So 8 hours in the car.
Got home at 4 a.m. and I was afraid to go to sleep because I had to get up and play mass. I do Sunday. I direct a choir at St. Peter's, so I had to do that. So I said, I'll just stay up.
That's great.
Yeah, it's but you know what it is.
I know how. Yeah, but you're definitely making it happen, and I'm proud of you. We've been fortunate enough to have, we're the old guys now. There's nobody, there's a few of that generation that are still there, but not many. And
that's all right, though.
I think about the West Custigo Inn, and the Daring family owned that, and I remember you playing there. And there's the different, Italian heritage connection, and the Sinesta up top there. I think we went to I don't know how many different. Tony Boffa used to do every prom. Crazy, but
he was very instrumental in helping me. Tony was a great.
He's still doing it down in Florida.
Still down in Florida. He keeps telling me I should be down there playing with him. What are you doing? Get down here. And I'm not ready for that yet. But no, it's great. I got so many great people around me in this community that have helped me. And I wasn't a traditional musician. I didn't learn 10 years of classical lessons. I kind of came up a different way. I picked everybody's brains.
You did go to Berkeley School of Music for a period of time.
Well, I was at Boston College, but I took some cross-registration classes over there, and that helped me to get a minor, which that I became the music director at Chevrolet. I started their music program.
That's correct.
In 86.
Yeah, crazy, right? So how do people get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Easiest way is just my website really gives you everything you need. It's got my calendar. It's just simply jimciampi.com. Yeah. And that's the easiest way. Everything's there, and that'll funnel you if you want to find out about if we're available or if you're interested. I'll get right back to you. And I take care of everything. There's no admin. I do the whole thing. So,
nice.
So it's
well, cheers, brother.
Thank you.
Love you.
Great to be here. Love you. Great. Thank you, Fred.
Cheers.